Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Coffee and Headlines, our morning get together live here on Facebook, where we take a look at your life and my life here in Puerto Vallarta. See, now I'm trying to change my intro on the fly and I'm stumbling, but I'm going to keep going at it. This is about you and I and how we enjoy ourselves in Puerto Vallarta as English speakers that call ourselves locals. So there. That's what Coffee and Headlines is. We take a look at the headlines from the papers. We take a look at things that matter, things we heard, things that may be true or maybe not so true. And when we're not so sure, we try to clarify. And when they're clearly things that just are not true, then we make sure that we mention that. All this while we're enjoying a nice cup of our favorite beverage in the morning. Not a bad deal. Not a bad way to start the morning. And this is what we do Monday through Saturday, 10:30 in the morning, although this morning we started at 10:32. It was a technical glitch, but I hope it is okay with you. Let's see, what else do we have? It's Friday. It's October 1st. We've entered a new month and we've entered a new administration here in Puerto Vallarta. We have a new mayor. We have new people running the show. We have all kinds of expectations. How are things going to go? Well, sit tight, relax, and we will get this show on the road. But first, a reminder, if this is the first time that you've joined us, this is a great opportunity for you to let us know that you're here. You can write the word new in your comment, and we'll just give you a little bit of a welcome. Also, if there is something important that you wish to bring up during our broadcast, it helps me a great deal if I can see a cue at the beginning of your comment. That way I can be looking for comments that are important to you, comments in which you are looking for a specific reaction or a reaction that you may or may not like, but just a reaction. And we take a look at all of those during the second half of the broadcast. First, we dive into our news as usual, and then our weather, and then we take it from there. So let's get going. Okay, between yesterday and today, just about every local and state news outlet has confirmed the expansion of operating hours for bars and restaurants as part of the ongoing sanitary strategy implemented by the state of Jalisco. So we can comfortably confirm what was announced yesterday. Bars can increase their occupancy from 50 to 65%. I'm sorry, I said bars, and I meant to say restaurants. Restaurants can increase their occupancy from 50 to 65%, and bars can go from 25 to 40%. Social events taking place indoors can have as many as 300 people, and outdoor events can have as many as 600 people. All massive events continue to be restricted until further notice. What happens when you approach a restaurant or a bar that is not withholding these guidelines? What happens when you approach a place that is really crowded and makes you feel a little bit uneasy? Piece of cake. You turn around and you walk away. It's that simple. And if you feel inclined to perform your social responsibility, you report the place to reglamentos. We know the numbers, we have mentioned them before. Moving on to the next headline, I want to let you know that Puerto Vallarta Mayor Luis Alberto Michel, that's the name of our new mayor, he took office yesterday in a formal ceremony that took place at City Hall for a new administration that will remain in office until October 1st, 2024. The guest list included important people such as Nayarit Governor Miguel Ángel Navarro Quintero. Our governor, Enrique Alfaro, was not there, but he sent Jalisco Secretary of Transportation, Diego Monraz Villaseñor, to represent him, and that's a good thing. I'll tell you why later. And there were, of course, important representatives of the private sector. The list of guests included 150 people, which is a lot of people for that courtyard, if you ask me. But hey, I'm not running the show. Mayor Michel vowed to lead an administration by the people and for the people, where public services will take priority. As usual, a plan for the first 100 days of government will be presented with efficient, congruent, and realistic goals that will be accomplished to kickstart the transformation proposed by the new administration. Still, Mayor Michel did not mention the names of the individuals that will be part of his cabinet. We know who the council members are, but we do not know who will lead key areas of his administration yet, so not everything is rosy, or at least not yet. Case in point, well, while everything looked quite pretty and colorful inside of City Hall, just outside, tourist guides and tour operators were manifesting with handwritten signs demanding that the current tourism director, Ludwig Estrada Virgen, should be replaced, claiming that he is incompetent for the job. It is worth mentioning that Estrada Virgen has been involved with tourism for the state of Jalisco for over 30 years, which does not necessarily make him competent or not, but the protesters argued that there are many, many young and talented people graduating from tourism programs from several local educational institutions that have the capability to do the work, but are not offered the opportunity to do so. A second ago, I mentioned Secretary of Transportation Diego Monraz, who came here to represent our governor for the ceremony. And of course, he was approached by reporters about the uncomfortable situation that has arisen with the subrogated city bus drivers in the past few days. Monraz Villaseñor was very clear, and I quote, "Puerto Vallarta cannot and will not be hijacked by anybody," he said. He added that this situation with the bus drivers was settled years ago, and that all bus drivers have been offered jobs and continue to be offered jobs with the new company, provided that they undergo the necessary training to drive the new units, and that the people that are rocking the boat are doing so for personal reasons, attempting to take advantage of the changing administration. So that is a very clear explanation to me. What this sounds like is there must be a small group of business people that own buses that have chosen not to sell them, and they're trying to stay afloat when this whole model of you own the bus, you're part of the transportation scheme, was replaced from the model of bus owner and bus provider was switched to a model of bus company and a fleet of buses. And this happened many, many years ago. Clearly, some people didn't get the memo, but that is the way it is. Let us hope, our bottom line as citizens, that we will not be subjected to any more of those situations in which they block the traffic and so forth. And of course, outgoing interim mayor Jorge Quintero's farewell act was the inauguration of the new Welcome to Puerto Vallarta letters in Las Juntas, along with the artist responsible for their creation, José Tomás Esparza León. I posted a couple of links two photos on them on the Facebook page, and expect oodles and oodles of more photos of the new letters to be published in the coming days. So far, so good. Let us switch over to the weather just to see what we have in store. It's gloomier than the day Peter Parker allowed his uncle to be killed by a carjacker. Oh, that sounds like a Spider-Man reference to me. This is, of course, coming from our snarky carrot weather man, or carrot, whatever. It is 27 degrees right now, feels like 32. Humidity is high at 93%, and our Fahrenheit temperature is 81 degrees. Our weather forecast for today, as we begin our weekend, calls for a humid and mostly cloudy day with a high temperature of 32, low temperature of 23. Tomorrow, we will enjoy possible light rain overnight with a high temperature of 32, low temperature 23. And Sunday will be humid and overcast throughout the day with a high temperature of 32 and a low temperature of 23. Before we dive into our neighborhood profile of the day, I have a couple of other announcements, starting with this one. Do you remember Vicente Fernandez, the Mexican idol of mariachi and ranchera music, who is the father of singer Alejandro Fernandez? We recall that he's been in the hospital for quite some time and continues to recuperate. Meanwhile, we also learned that a series about his life, a biopic or bio-series, will be produced by Netflix, and Mexican leading actor Jaime Camil has been cast to play what the actor has referred to as the most challenging role of his life. Apparently, he has the endorsement of the family to play the role, for whatever that's worth. And last but not least, as always, whenever New York Times offers us some interesting and insightful suggestions for classical music to listen to, I include them in the show notes. This has happened again. We have 5 new, more classical albums to enjoy right now, along with sweet descriptions of each one of them and Spotify links to listen to them right now. And this, my friends, brings us to our neighborhood profile of the week. Today is our turn to explore the beautiful, the pristine, the flat, the oh so exciting Marina Vallarta. And there is the entrance of Marina Vallarta. It's completely recognizable for anybody that lives here. You know, it's this development that is right south of our airport. And we are going to talk about this neighborhood today. And we're going to start with a little bit of a historical perspective of Marina Vallarta, because I think it is a very interesting story that forms part of the history of our city. Between 1980 and 1990, the population in Puerto Vallarta went from 57,000 to 111,000, give or take. So it doubled. By 1985, the increasing tourism arriving in town, not to mention the number of immigrants, and, you know, by immigrants, I mean you, or some of you call yourselves expats, but we're going to refer to you as immigrants. The number of immigrants arriving into the city demanded not only the construction of new hotels, but also residential options for hotel employees and directives. So at this point of the story, we meet brothers Jorge and Jose Martinez Guitron from Guadalajara. Now, to give you some perspective on these Martinez Guitron brothers, it's like talking about the Garzasadas of Monterrey or the Vanderbilts of New York. We are talking about wealthy families, successful entrepreneurial families with lots and lots of money. So, brothers Jorge and Jose Martinez Guitron had just received payment for a massive electrical installation that their company completed. So they used these funds to make a huge strategic real estate move like none other had been done in Mexico. They purchased all the land north of Puerto Vallarta. And after buying the land, they built the exclusive marina within Marina Vallarta, and the project was completed in 1986. Now, I do an emphasis, or I place emphasis on north of Puerto Vallarta, because you see, the Puerto Vallarta airport was built in the 60s. Of course, actually, the first flights in Puerto Vallarta go back to 1931, and the first commercial flights started arriving in 1954, thanks to Mexicana de Aviación. But the airport as we know it, or at the location that we know it, was built in the 1960s. It was a really exciting decade for Puerto Vallarta. Why? Because, well, for starters, Night of the Iguana was filmed here in 1963, and it was during this decade that Jalisco Governor Francisco Medina Asensio elevated our city from little town to larger city. And we know his name because that is the name of our main avenue, Francisco Medina Asensio. And of course, in 1970, Mexican President Gustavo Díaz Ordaz and United States President Richard Nixon chose to meet, of all places in Mexico, here in Puerto Vallarta. But between the airport and the city of Puerto Vallarta, at the time, there was nothing but swampland. Marina Vallarta, the maritime terminal, the hotel zone, all of that was swamp. So folks at the time, local folks, were shocked about this construction, about this huge project. On the one hand, nobody thought that anything useful could be built or could be done within the estuary, which at the time covered pretty much all of what we know as Marina Vallarta today. But also, locals were mindful of the huge amount of flora and fauna that lived there. How could they possibly kill all those animals to build a marina? Then there was a cost of living. Could locals at the time afford Marina Vallarta? Not at all. Marina Vallarta arrived to herald something new, something different, something exclusive, more foreign than Mexican. More foreign than Mexican. So Marina Vallarta was completed just as the 1990s were beginning, and with them came all-inclusive vacations and timeshare ownerships. And these were the in things to do. It's like you have to have a timeshare. You have to go on an all-inclusive vacation where every need, every want that you have is catered. Plaza Marina, the shopping center, opened in 1990 as, quote unquote, the new Vallarta style, a great place to conduct real business. It was the most important shopping center in Puerto Vallarta and quite possibly in the entire Mexican Pacific Riviera. I mean, it had the first McDonald's in town in 1991. And it was that big. It was that big and swanky. Or it seemed to be at the time. Now, prior to Marina Vallarta, Puerto Vallarta was a fairly peaceful town, relaxed, mellow, with no contamination and plenty of public safety. It was a small town, one in which even international jet-set luminaries could stroll around peacefully around the little town without being bothered or recognized. But such was the level of development in Marina Vallarta at the time that it gave way to unmeasured and unexpected demographic growth in the city. And with that, with the construction of Marina Vallarta, Puerto Vallarta was introduced to problems previously unknown to our city. Sewer problems, for example. And most importantly, irregular colonias or irregular neighborhoods or settlements that were full of irregular people. And by that, I mean people that came to Puerto Vallarta looking for work and opportunity. There were a lot of opportunities for construction workers. So many people did come to work, but other people didn't. And when the work was concluded, what were these people supposed to do with themselves, or how were they supposed to make a living? So what was the new problem that Puerto Vallarta had to face that never faced before? Insecurity. Something similar happened, by the way, with the development of Punta Mita, the swanky development at the northern tip of our bay. It's like they created a lot of work opportunities to create the swanky condos and the swanky hotels. But when everything was done, the developers just turned around and said, okay, thank you, goodbye. Then you have all these colonias that were developed right outside of the swanky Punta Mita, and you had all these people that all of a sudden had nothing to do. So what happened? There was robbery, there was drug addiction, but I digress. We're going to save that one for another day. Um, so Marina Vallarta and its shopping center also brought to Puerto Vallarta the extinction of time honored cottage industries, such as that of huarache making. I mean, why make and sell huaraches or sandals when the tourists could now buy them at the new fancy schmancy shopping center? Oh, and Marina Vallarta Phase 2 was actually part of the original adventure. The land presently occupied by the El Salado estuary was also going to be dredged out and turned into more condos, more hotels, more golf courses. But then came a blessing in disguise. In 1994 came Mexico's historic financial crisis. I remember it well. I was going to college in the United States at the time, and suddenly the rate exchange between pesos and dollars changed radically, and I became completely unable to pay for my tuition. Inflation was such that in Mexico, a zero or two had to be removed from the currency. So something that used to cost 2,000 pesos all of a sudden costed 20 pesos, and we had to, you know, get used to all this new life or new currency. But let me go back to my little presentation so that we can take a closer look and connect some dots of what we're looking at. For starters, here is Marina Vallarta. As you can see, Marina Vallarta is flanked to the north. Is my cursor where? Yes, my cursor's there. To the north of Marina Vallarta is the actual airport. To the on this side, on its left side is the ocean. Over here, there's a couple of colonias. There's a Colonia Aeropuerto, not to be confused with the actual airport. But do notice that all this area is largely unoccupied. That's because that's where the estero is located, the estuary. So Marina Vallarta, well, first of all, let's just think about all this beautiness, all this flatness, all this very Mexicanness that Marina Vallarta is. This used to be swampland. And the whole thing used to be swampland. So that's when the locals were like, what the fuck? How can they build something there when it's full of crocodiles? But again, as I was mentioning before, when the great devaluation came, all of a sudden everything had to be put on hold. Mexico's financial crisis took over everything, and everything came to a halt. Case in point, there is this fabulous building in the heart of Marina Vallarta, right across from the Marriott Hotel. It looks unoccupied, and it is unoccupied, and it has been unoccupied since I moved here in 2001. But those that were here tell me that it was fabulous at the time. It had a little shopping center, and it had escalators, and it had a disco, and the building was they stopped developing it because of the financial crisis. And it sits there as a sore thumb, a constant reminder of how things do not always turn out the way you'd like them to, at least not for developers. And you walk around Plaza Marina today, as in the most important shopping center in Puerto Vallarta and possibly the entire Mexican Pacific Riviera, and it's dead. Most of its commercial tenants are gone, shops are closed, and who knows what apartments on the second story of the shopping center go for, whether you wish to own them or rent them. Here is an aerial view of the whole zone. So you can see here is the eyesore building that I'm referring to right now. And here, all over here, is the estuary, the El Salado estuary, full of beautiful crocodiles and flora and fauna. And you can explore this. We can explore this. And there's a tour that can give you a better appreciation of all the wildlife that sits there, surrounded by urban development. So you see, I didn't come up with this perception, this feeling that Marina Vallarta is a foreign place, not for us, not for locals. It was there before I moved here. So What is Marina Vallarta today? Marina Vallarta today is a vibrant community uh, to live and for some to work, with condo buildings from the past and the present, with beautiful homes like pearls strung together by a golf course of some renown, with restaurants and shops, and, well, a marina. So a lot of foreign immigrants invested in marina properties when it was developed, and so did many affluent Mexican families from Guadalajara and other inland cities. So you get that kind of vibe even today as you explore its malecon or enjoy its restaurants. And for this time and age, it is a perfect place to live. I say perfect place to live for those that have or want that kind of lifestyle. Um, it has a supermarket, it has many restaurants, it is completely flat, it is handicapped accessible, it comes with its own set of crocodiles. If you enjoy boating or playing golf, you may like Marina Vallarta. And of course, if you have children, the prestigious American School of Puerto Vallarta is located within Marina Vallarta. So this is something that you may want to consider. Public beach access is limited, but Marina Vallarta hotels, particularly the Marriott and the Westin, offer attractive day passes for us that live here. And let that be my segue to things I would actually recommend about Marina Vallarta as a local. If you've sensed that I'm not very keen on Marina Vallarta, your instinct is right. It's not for me, but I'm sure that it is for a lot of people. But there are some redeeming things. Again, if you like golf or even enjoy boating, you were gonna like Marina Vallarta. If you're a local and would like the resort life for a few hours, nothing beats a day pass at the Westin or the Marriott in a secret location that I'm going to reveal in a moment. Although the few times I've been to the beach in Marina Vallarta, I must say I haven't found the ocean all that swimmable. But the resorts have fabulous day passes. What else? This has not happened in the recent past due to the pandemic, but the American School of Puerto Vallarta has quite a respectable musical theater program and its own stage, its own theater. And I've been to some of their productions, and trust me, when compared to some of the things coming out of Act Two Entertainment, there's nothing shabby about seeing a musical at the American School. It is a great neighborhood to walk your dog, but on a leash. Just ask Candace Shaw what happened to her dog near the golf course. Let's just say that she lost a dog and a croc lost its appetite. And then, of course, there's the wonderful shops and restaurants along the Malecon, and and they are top notch. There are some awesome restaurants to try here. My favorite of them is Benito's, and of course, we also know that Natasha Moraga has been building a beautiful transformation in Lázaro Cárdenas Park with beautiful tile work. But Natasha was also commissioned many, many years ago by Marina Vallarta to create a gorgeous mural that goes on for several blocks along a wall on Albatros Street, which is the street that separates Marina Vallarta from land owned by the airport, which is next door. During pandemic times, Marina Vallarta is the only neighborhood in Puerto Vallarta that installed its own disinfection points at the entrance when things got ugly for COVID prevention. And I can share a recurring anecdote from when I was working at Vallarta Lifestyles, which has offices in Marina Vallarta. And that's another reason why I'm not so crazy about the neighborhood. For 14 years, I went to work every single day at Marina Vallarta. And for better or worse, my mindset of Marina Vallarta is a place to go to work and a place to get away from when it is time to go home. But here's a recurring anecdote from those years. There are many local buses that pass through the entrance of Marina Vallarta and continue north. And although it may take some time, you can actually walk from the entrance to just about any point within the marina in less than 30 minutes. But Marina Vallarta actually has its own bus route, and the buses are labeled Marina. I don't know if this still happens today, but at the time there was a large number of non-Spanish speaking tourists that would hop on a city bus at different points in the city, and they would just mumble the word Marina when they would get on the bus, and the bus driver would say yes or sí, not actually knowing whether, or caring, whether the passengers were interested in getting off the bus at Marina Vallarta or at the maritime terminal, which is also the marina. So, as a result of this, many unsuspecting tourists have gotten off the city bus at Sam's thinking that they have arrived at Marina Vallarta when they haven't. This is the way it is. So, it's just a little side note. If you have tourists coming into town, you may want to make sure um, that you let them know uh, of that subtle but important difference. Now, there is one place in Marina Vallarta like no other in town, and I'm going to recommend this very much, and this would be San Tropico. Now, San Tropico is shown here on the map. It's a little well. San Tropico is a gated community that has a few buildings, and it started as a place where that was developed to sell condos. The buildings are these 2 or 3 story buildings. It was a gated community, but somehow, for reasons that I don't understand and don't know, it failed as a condo project. So the investors turned it into a boutique hotel. They furnished the condos with comfortable amenities, offering folks a condo like stay in a very peaceful neighborhood in town. Um, Even while each unit has its own kitchen, San Tropico has a small nature, uh, natural, organic type restaurant with many healthy food options, and it even has its own yoga studio. Check out the decor in this photograph, and you get a good idea of the casual, youthful vibe that prevails at this place. But what we like about San Tropico as locals, the selling point is its very beautiful, very private, very quiet swimming pool, which you can enjoy as a local via day pass. And if you say to me, "Gee, I've never heard of this place," I will have rested my case. If you need to get away for a few hours and hide at a local pool, well, where you will not be running into people you know, the pool at San Tropico is the place to be. I did give him a phone call yesterday afternoon to confirm that they're still offering the day pass, and they are, but not until sometime this coming month. Well, no, this month, October. It started today, when their chef returns to operate the restaurant. So I will leave you with their Facebook page in the show notes so you can explore it further if you wish to go hide in some place in a nice, comfortable, relaxed pool with plenty of shady umbrellas to chill. And that, my friends, is my little homework about Marina Vallarta. And let me now rewind back to take a look at all your comments just to see what you are up to this morning. Wow. Lots of good mornings as always, and these are always appreciated. Parim pam pum pam pum, purum pim 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 pim, piri pi pa pa pi pa 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 pa. Ah, many good mornings. Ramona's counting days, awesome. Uh, let's see. Interesting. I always have a good day when I realize I wake up looking down at the grass instead of up at it. Okay, I'll have to visualize that, but thank you very much for sharing, Dave. Let's see what else. Da 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 da. More upcoming arrivals. Excellent. Paco, can you talk about the new pre flight health questionnaire that Mexico is asking before flying? Actually, I cannot because I know nothing about it, Angelica. I have not seen any headlines about this. And so if you have seen any that you wish to share with me, by all means, share them with me, and I'll be so very happy to talk about it. Um, Ouch, can anyone recommend a good dentist? I cannot because I have dentist phobia, but I am sure that somebody in the house can hopefully recommend a good dentist for you, Joanne. Uh, Another return, lovely. Let's see what else. Oh my goodness, Kelly! Congratulations. This is Kelly from the living room bookstore in Marina Vallarta, who started 3 years ago today. And wow, time flies by, Kelly. I remember when you had just opened. My goodness, wow. Question. I can't remember where the old welcome letters also arranged in two rows or just one. Matthew, I cannot remember either, but how wonderful it is that going to Google and Googling Puerto Vallarta welcome letters can easily answer these questions for us. So nice to have Google in the house. Let's see what else we have. Da da dee da da. Loving this historical story of Marina Vallarta. Paco, you are the bomb. I am not the bomb. The bomb is Catalina Montes de Oca and a couple of other wonderful writers that have written biographical books and have chronicled the history of our city. So the information is out there. It's just a matter of packaging it together. Let's see. Dee da dee da 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 dee da 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 dee da 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 da. Yeah, what the hell is up with that abandoned building? I take it you're talking about the eyesore in the middle of Marina Vallarta. Who knows? The sad part about a lot of those buildings is that they get caught up in financial troubles and owner woes and this and that and the other. There's another building like that just across from Parque Lázaro Cárdenas in Colonia Emiliano Zapata. I mean, it's been an eyesore for decades. Um, let's see what else we have. Paco, is that bar on top of the condo building in the marina still in operation or did they shut it down? I remember you talking about that place in the past. John, I have no idea. But I am sure that if you look for them on Facebook or you look at a map on Google, you will find out the name of the building. And then if you Google it on Facebook, you will find out whether they have a page on Facebook or not. And that will most likely answer your question. Let's see. Oh, and before I wrapped up the presentation, I forgot to mention that next week we get to talk about Paso Ancho. Paso Ancho will be our next neighborhood profiled, and that will be a week from today. Let's see. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. I don't see a lot of cues. You guys are chatty. I don't see a lot of cues, but it's okay. I will quote this one because Heather was here and I was not. The early 90s were definitely a heady time in Vallarta, and crocs so abundant in the marina that the unscrupulous would capture many young ones, keep them in their bathtubs until there was no more room, then sell them, and they got away with it. Wow, that's crazy. That's crazy. Da 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 da. Da, 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 da. Thank you for very much for that, Eric. Again, when there are interesting and helpful resources, it's good to tap into that. Which is, by the way, why I've been so excited about the new Casa Museo project, the new museum with the history of Puerto Vallarta. I haven't had a chance to go there yet, but I'm really excited on what efforts they are going to put forth to encapsulate all these histories of our city and how we as locals can help to make sure that that happens. Let's see. San Tropico looks like a real find. San Tropico is a great find for an afternoon and an evening away from everything and everything. Let's see what else. I'll take this as a compliment to coming from Kelly, who lives and works in Marina Vallarta. Thank you very much. Da, 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 da. Your homework was extensive, says Doug Baldridge. I say you deserve nothing but extensive. This is why we make coffee and headlines, to tell things the way we know them as best as we can. Kelly clarifies the bookstore opened 2 years ago. I moved here 3 years ago. Well, Mazel Tov anyway. Angelica clarifies that pre-flight health information is a new thing that the government of Mexico is asking. It's totally new. Again, um, it applies to travelers, not to locals. So I'm not keeping an eye on stuff like that, Angelica. But again, if you are willing to share some URLs with us as to where you found out about this, then we can hopefully dig in a little further. Let's see what else. Any word on the pan guy who plays that cute song? Dwayne, you asked me this the other day and I didn't answer directly, but as long as you are here, there are many companies that use the song. So I am sure there's more than one guy that is doing the door to door salesmanship of bread. I don't know specifically what guy you are referring to or what happened to him. Um, Unfortunately, Maggie, books on the history of Puerto Vallarta are difficult to find. Most of them are published in Spanish. Most of them were published in limited edition, and most of them can only be found either at the public library or at the university. Um, what are the two brothers who created Marina doing now? Maybe resting in peace. I don't even know if they're still alive, but I don't know what they're doing now. They're probably enjoying their wealth, or their families are. Let's see what else. That's it. Oh my goodness, we've gotten to the end of the comments. Yay! Another broadcast, another week. Tomorrow we come back with a surprise adventure that I need to figure out how to do. We're going to, no, I'm not going to tell you what we're going to do tomorrow, but it's going to be something that we've never done here at Coffee and Headlines. And I'm excited because I want to try something that is very Mexican, and we'll take a good look at that. Lynn, thank you very much for sharing the information that you are referring to, and and I will be so very happy to look at that and see if there's any more information. Again, I apologize, Lynn, for not having up to date information for people that are flying here. We are a community of people that live here, a community of locals, not people that come here from other places. So if it's not on top of our priorities to have this information, it's by design. Thank you very much for joining us today. I hope you have an awesome, awesome day, and I hope to see you tomorrow. And if not tomorrow, I hope to see you sometime in the very near future. Have an awesome day.